Hey guys, and welcome to episode 110. 2x2, a complete Valentine's game night. It is Valentine's Day, a Valentine's special, hence the red backdrop behind me. As always, I remain PJ, and with me today is Kristen Mott. Kristen, how are you?
Hello, I am excellent. How are you?
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this. You're a real sport. I appreciate you joining me for this conversation. To contextualize a little bit, we're just going to talk about some of our favorite two-player games to play on Valentine's, as well as any games that just play well at two players.
Players, yep.
Yeah. I know you've got quite a list of games that play more than two, but play
Yeah,
really well at two players and are great for a Valentine's Day. And it's Valentine's Day, so this is great.
yeah, it's perfect.
And then I want to talk about, hopefully, if we've got time, we'll get to it. I want to talk about the recent news of some of the new two-player games titles that
Yes,
we can look forward to this year, which is,
yes, it's certainly a trend. It seems like
yeah,
the duels and
yes,
duos.
the duels, and duets.
That's right.
So with that in mind, I want to talk about my first title. My first game for Valentine's that we're going to play, my wife and I are definitely going to play this. We play it all the time anyway, and won the Spiel des Jahres this year, and that's Sky Team,
Ooh, yes,
right?
that's a good choice. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is, so what I love about Sky Team is it forces you and your partner, spouse, significant other
Mhm.
to sit next to each other and play a game
Silently.
silently. Well,
Hmm.
partially, right? You can plan
Yeah,
first, but once you roll the dice, shh.
that's it. Yep.
Right. I will say, however, with my wife, sometimes she gets mad at me.
That's all right. My husband gets mad at me too, so
Does
you
he?
go first and tell me why.
So I roll dice, and I either make. I will tell you when the game first came out, it blew my mind. This concept, I really struggled. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been playing games since the '80s, right? So I should understand. But I'm like, okay, so I roll the dice, but I can't tell you. I can't talk to you. I'm like, so what am I supposed to do? And I'm trying to do landing gear. You're trying to do flaps. What?
Uh-huh.
What? I don't. What is going on? And inevitably, I'd always play the wrong die in the wrong order, or I'd put it in the wrong position at the wrong time.
Hmm.
So early on, Katie wanted nothing to do with this game. She's like, we're not playing. But I learned how to play. I was like, I figured it out. And
Yep.
now it hits our table. We have gone through, for those of you who haven't played it, there are levels, right? There's airport approaches that are green for easy, yellow for
Hmm.
medium, and red for hard. And I think there's even like black for like ultra hard.
Super difficult. Yeah.
Yeah. We played our first difficult approach just the other night, and we screwed up once because the dice,
It
it can't,
happens.
it does. And then we managed the second time we got it, we were successful. So it's really interesting. Katie either is very angry with me or she is in love with me.
Uh-huh.
It is like hot or cold. I don't know if you experience the same thing when you play Sky Team, but
That's very interesting. So my husband, he would get mad at me because he would play a die first, and then I would have a die that worked with that if it was one of the communal slots where you had to have
right.
one from each side. And so I would finish that slot like, oh, you put the 5 here, I'm going to put the 3 there, and
Mhm.
then it worked because in my mind I've just completed that objective. Now we're ready for the next one. And he's like, no, you have to put one of your dice in another slot so I know where to put my next die and I can sort of,
Right.
puzzle it out. My brain is like, no, we have to get it done like in order. And so we lost a few times that way.
Yep.
And now I play his way and it works
You
better.
figured out.
It
Yeah.
does work better.
I've heard people complain, or not complain. There's been a lot of joking and jesting and memes about Sky Team.
Hmm.
And to be fair, they're justified because it's absurd. It is absurd that a captain and a co-pilot are like,
Let's see if we can land this
yeah,
plane. It'll be
without,
fine. It'll be fine.
we're not gonna talk to each other. I'm just gonna do things. Oh, or the axis is leaning this way. That's fine.
I'm sure it'll level out.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
it is kind of it's an absurd concept, but it's the only way that the game works.
And
Right.
it's so fun. I
Oh,
mean,
so
as
good.
a game concept, it works and it's unique and it's fun.
It's
But yeah,
also an excellent game to play on BGA.
really, I haven't played it on
Yeah.
VGA. Okay.
I played it with some friends in Europe that I don't get to play with my very often, and it
Mhm.
works well. Not everything works well on BGA.
That's
Um,
true.
but this one's really good. So,
Mhm.
Sky Team, guys. Sky Team. Yep.
Okay.
Landing planes with your spouse since 2022.
It can be fun, we promise.
Hey, it won the game of the year, right? That's I think it was
Yeah,
the first two-player game to ever win the Spiel des Jahres
I
award,
think so. Yeah, I think
which
so.
is
It's a pretty
huge.
big deal.
Hmm.
And I think maybe that's part of the what has sort of paved the way for all of the two-player games that we're seeing
Yeah,
coming out now that have been announced recently, because it's like we said before, it's definitely a trend. I think that all of these games seem to be getting a two-player variant or a
absolutely.
standalone game, not a variant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So what is top of your Valentine's Day list for you and your husband?
Okay, so one of our all-time favorites is this little card game. It's the only one I have here with me. Is
Oh.
Stellar from Renegade. This is we actually haven't played it for a while, but it's an awesome two-player card game. It's pretty simple but very puzzly. It's you're putting these cards out into like a telescope board, and then some are going into your notebook, and there's different ways that you're multiplying those
Okay.
planets, asteroids, like black holes, all those things. But the way that the multipliers work is very interesting. And
Cool.
we've played that one for several years now. It's really good. I like it.
That's cool. Is it cooperative like Sky Team or is it
No.
okay?
And one thing to know about me, I really don't care for cooperative games much at
Oh.
all. I will play Sky Team, but I don't like people telling me what to do. I like
Mm,
making my own decisions. And so we don't play a lot of cooperative games unless
okay.
it's with our kids because I just can't handle it. I
So
want
it's
to make my own
okay.
decisions.
You want to make your own decisions, and it's okay when
Yeah.
you're the one telling everyone else what to do, right?
But I don't. Like
Oh, okay.
I'm not an alpha gamer. I don't want to tell anybody else what to do, and I don't want anybody else to tell me what to do. I'm going to sit quietly and I'm going to do my
I
puzzle,
totally get that.
and you're going to leave me alone.
I get that. I think that's
Yeah.
why Sky Team is so good. Is
Hmm.
it's cooperative, but with the communication restrictions,
Yeah.
you've got to work it out. Like, not to take away from Stellar, I've not played
Yeah.
it, so I have questions. But
Sure.
with Sky Team, you're planning ahead of time. It's like, oh, we got to go slow. Be sure to assign your slow numbers to the engines so that we don't go too fast, right? So
Yeah.
you can kind of prep ahead of time, which is not table captaining like you just described.
Yeah, and I don't mind the pre-planning
Mhm.
phase of that, but in the moment, if
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a decision and someone else tells me, "Oh no, we should do this instead," I'm like,
Mm.
okay, I just can't. I
Okay.
can't. I don't
Well,
like doing
we're
that.
gonna have to play some cooperative games. I mean, yeah, because we've got.
Okay.
I will be fair. I will be honest. I will be fair. I'll be honest. I was a kind of a terrible table captain.
Ah,
In
okay.
I was.
In the day.
Yeah, Katie really kind of tempered me, and I'm like, I gotta stop. And the thing is I got a lot of friends here in the Springfield area who were new to gaming, not anymore, but at the time, and I was
Hmm.
like, I want to let them make their own decisions, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you options. I'll be like, look, you could do A, B, C, D. You could take this action, do whatever you want. And I will. I'm not afraid to let my teammates make a less than optimal decision. Is that
Hmm. Yeah.
like it may not be the
Sometimes.
best one, but because you want to have
Yeah.
that freedom. And I would do that with
Mhm.
you because I want to play more games with you, and I love cooperative games. So okay, so tell me more about Stellar. It's not cooperative, obviously.
It's
It's
not,
Is
no.
it two-player exclusive or
Yes, it's only a two-player game.
okay?
Um, and now that I'm trying to think about it, like, so you get two cards, or you're playing two cards on your. It has this really cool system where each card has a number and there's actually a display that's numbered, and you play one card into one side of your board. Either it's the notebook or it's the telescope. And then based on the number on that card or where you play it, I can't remember which one, you take from the display and put that in the opposite space, either the notebook or the telescope that you just played. And so there's this like incredible sort of duality going on throughout the whole game, and it's super crunchy. But the
Okay.
idea is fairly simple. It's tough to execute well, and
I'm looking
we
it
love
up
it.
on Board Game Geek right now.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, this is cool. Okay.
Yeah. And it's just cards. There's nothing else.
Nice.
So yeah.
Nice. So it's got just enough of a table presence that the two of you could play it for Valentine's Day after the kids have gone to bed or something.
Yeah, and it's not super long. I mean, probably
Okay.
half hour, which is
That's, yeah.
honestly where most of our games have to be at this point. We have 3
Right.
kids, so we don't generally get to play till after bedtime, and it's got to be short. If I can't learn, teach, and play the game in like 90 minutes for all of that,
Sure.
it doesn't happen.
Mhm.
So
I get that.
Yeah.
That. I wonder if that's why, aside from Sky Team's success, if that's why there's this trend of new 2-player games or 2-player versions of games coming out this year, is
because they're shorter.
because I'm thinking that game designers are recognizing the reality that there's a whole generation of gamers who have children and have the time constraints that you just described.
Yeah.
And so that's a reality. Never mind, the designers themselves are gamers who have children and
Sure.
experience the same thing. So,
Yeah. I think it's a trend more coming from publishers that they're like,
Mhm.
well, they
Oh,
see
sure.
that this is where sort of the sweet spot with games
Right.
is going, is into lighter games, and so that's what they want. So that's what they're
Yeah.
asking for.
Yep. Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but my next title, number 2,
Mhm.
is another cooperative.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so, and you and I talked a little bit about it right before the recording. That is Isofarian Guard by Sky Kingdom Games. Guys, this game is incredible. It is a exclusive 2-player, cooperative, open world, multi-narrative campaign game. I've talked about it on the show before. It is just incredible. Also, it's got audio narration that you can get on foreteller.com. So plug for Foreteller there. It's so good. It is incredible. And it's got beautiful chips. So you put in your bag to trigger. You have guard cards, what they call guard cards, which are like your human abilities. You slash, you stab, you parry. And then the whole thing is surrounding the stone bound. There's these mystical stones that, speaking stones, they speak to you through the narrative. You uncover all this. There's a darkness over Isofar, which is the kingdom. And it's very, very D&D-ish, right?
Yeah.
In terms of theme. But it's really cool. Like I said, it's cooperative. So you're just running through this narrative together. And you're either fighting together, or you're listening to audio narration as the story progresses, or you're fashioning equipment to better your characters. And your characters are linked. So each campaign, there are 5 campaigns, there's 10 characters, but they're paired together, right? And even their miniatures probably shouldn't go off screen, but so here's the miniatures, right? Yeah, so it's
Wow.
So this is basically moves around the map. So you have Catherine and Yuri, and so the whole campaign is Catherine and Yuri working together, and it's represented in the miniature. And I know if anyone's watching and sees this, no, we did not paint these minis. I don't know why we haven't painted them. The beauty is that the miniatures actually come apart from the base so that you could paint them. And then when you're done, you can put them back on. But it's just this beautiful, it's this beautiful narrative. Like I said, it's 2-player cooperative. You don't, I mean, I guess you could play it alone, you could play it solo, but you have to manage both characters, right?
Yeah.
So it's 1 to 2 player essentially, right? If you don't have a partner, you can still play it, enjoy it, and embrace the world. The chips, so you have like ability chips that trigger the guard and stonebound cards. They're black, which means they're permanent. They'll go back into your bag. There's purple chips they can come out, but they do go back into your bag at the end of each combat. But then there's green ones, which are temporary. Once you pull them out, you trigger their effect, they will not go back into your bag. And then the red ones are negative that your enemies can do too. So it's beautifully designed, beautifully constructed. The box is too large to fit in a single Kallax cube.
That's too much. That's too big.
Each campaign has its own spiral book. We've been through the first campaign. We're in the second one right now. And probably after a few games of Sky Team, we will play Isofarian Guard on Valentine's. It's going to be great.
Nice.
So yeah, that is Isofarian Guard. So check it out if you can. It's cool. You know, it's not like Gloomhaven or Frosthaven where, you know, you can play it at 2, but you need a 3 or a 4, or if you're in a campaign where someone can't show up, well, you can't play this week.
Yeah.
We can always play this, right?
Yeah.
We keep it set up on the table. It's got it's not designed by Game Trays, but they partnered with Game Trays.
Okay.
So there's a lot of game trays with lids. So if the cats come downstairs in the basement and jump on the table, they're not going to knock. You know, it's fine. So Isofarian Guard, Sky Kingdom Games.
Awesome.
Check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what's your second?
So we recently discovered. Let's look at my list here. So I recently introduced my husband to BGA, probably within the last month. I've only been playing on BGA for 2 or 3 months, and then I finally talked him into starting it. And now we do that a lot in the evenings where we'll just we're going to play this game, do it on BGA. It's so fast, so easy. But we discovered Donuts, the 2-player game.
What?
Yeah. Have you ever heard of it?
Tell me about this.
It's like you're placing donuts. Somebody is all the cake donuts, somebody's all the chocolate donuts. You put your donut out onto a board, and each square that you can put it on has just a line on it, whether it's diagonal or vertical, horizontal. And so wherever you place that donut, the next player has to place their donut in line with that line. So if I put one that's on a diagonal going this way, now Phil has to put one of his donuts on this line, diagonal, any space in that line. And if you are able to place one of your donuts in the center, like between 2 of an opponent's donuts, then they flip and to your color. And so you get 5 in a row, you win.
Okay.
But I don't know. We love it. We're a little bit obsessed with it. It's so thinky and just fast to play on BGA, especially.
Sure.
So it's good. I like Boop.
Sure.
I like that well enough, but it feels different and like thinkier than Boop.
Okay.
I mean, it is different because that's 3 in a row. You're turning kittens into cats and all of that. Right. But yeah, we like that one a lot. We like Donuts.
Donuts. Okay.
Yeah. I don't think it really gets enough love. I don't know that I have ever seen anybody talk about it really, but we found it on there.
I've never heard of it until today, so
it's great. Check it out.
Donuts.
Yeah.
And that's another 2-player exclusive?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Because somebody's always the cake donuts, somebody's always the chocolate donuts. And
it sounds like slightly like Othello with the black and white, not marbles, but if you get in between, you flip them over, something like that. That's great, but it's donuts.
It's donuts. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. Donuts. Oh, yeah. That is fun. That's cool. Do you know who published that by any chance?
I don't. I'd have to look it up. You talk about one and I'll look it up.
Okay. I'm going to do that. So my next one, you're going to like my next one because it's not a cooperative game.
Okay, good.
And that is Jaipur.
Ooh, that is a good one. Yes.
So this one, I'm going to put an asterisk by it. This was before recording. This is what Katie said you should talk about. I don't like, so I'm going to. So this is Katie's choice, wife's choice. She said Jaipur. And I was like, Jaipur is good. We've been playing that. There's a whole new version. There's like an updated version. We still play the old original version. I don't really know the difference, but yeah, that's a really fun 2-player game that I can't seem to win.
Oh. Well, good for Katie.
Yeah, she manages to. So it's 2 out of 3, right? Or best 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you get those tokens.
right. I can
Yeah.
always get one of the 3. We usually always go 3 rounds, but she comes out with a win. I just can't. I can't win with her. You know, it's a beautiful set collection, and you turn them in for chips, and you know, it's a simple game, but it's really good. I think I focus on the camel cards a little too much.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you have the most camels, you get the bonus 5 points for the round.
That's right.
Oh yeah, but Jaipur, that is my third
Very
2-player
good.
game for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't even think of that one, but that's a good. That's a
But
good
you should be proud of me. It's not cooperative.
Yeah. Good job, PJ.
What about donuts? Did you figure out the
Oh yeah,
publisher?
I found it. So it was Funforge and Hutch. But it's designed by Bruno Cathala.
Oh
so
yeah,
it's very good.
His games are so accessible and fun. So yeah, that's cool. Donuts by Bruno.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. This is the Bruno we can talk about, right? We can talk about this Bruno.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how about number 3 for you?
So number 3, this was Phil's suggestion, was Patchwork. Very classic.
Good one. Yep.
We don't play that one that often because we usually go for so in that sort of vein of games, the Uwe games, we play New York Zoo and Tangram City more frequently than we play Patchwork.
Yeah.
But they both play great at 2 players, so you know.
They're good. Yeah. No, Patchwork is good. And Yui Rosenberg, so amazing designer. And Polyomino, right?
Polyomino, yeah.
Yeah. And it's the first game on our list for this episode that has a Valentine's Day version.
It does. It's got every holiday version.
It does.
I mean, yeah.
So we have one of the early versions of the original, and the tiles aren't cut very well. I don't know if it's a it's a production error, whatever it is. Whenever you're trying to place them on your quilt mat, sometimes they don't fit very well.
Oh, that's a problem.
We've taken an X-Acto knife and shaved off to try to get them to fit. We debate about getting a new version because it seems like from everyone we've talked to, they don't have this problem, and so I don't know.
Okay.
But it's like, what do you get? There's Halloween, there's Valentine's, there's Americana, there's...
and I don't know, is there a difference? Like, is there any variation in gameplay between those, or is it just strictly...
Not from what it's not, in my understanding, they're the same. It's just different holiday skins, which is okay. That's fine.
Because we've only ever played the original, so I don't...
Yeah, so Patchwork. Man, that's good. That's a good one. That's a solid. That is a solid 2-player choice. Man, our spouses, they really chose well, right?
Of course they did. They make excellent life decisions.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. My wife is never wrong. So I'm going to say that right here now. She's never wrong. I am.
Does she listen to the podcast? Will she do that?
She won't. She doesn't listen anymore. It's at some point I lost her. I don't know when, but she used to listen and give me notes, as every good wife does. And as a good husband, I would listen.
Okay. Yeah.
But at some point I lost her, and it's fine. That's okay. So I usually ask, like, hey, what do you want me to talk about on the show? And it's usually like, and I do it, and I should know better. This is Valentine's Day, so we're going to talk about, this is like couples therapy session here. I should ask her several days in advance rather than 5 minutes before I'm going to go on air and be like, so
what do you think? Yeah.
She's gracious enough to give me one, and I mention her often on the show, but I have a tendency, I know better, but I'm like, I should have given you more time, but I
Yeah.
didn't. Yeah. So
Well,
I'll probably,
wives always have good ideas.
they do. And I will
Yeah.
probably learn my lesson in another, we've been married 15 years, so another 15 years, I will probably have finally figured.
You figured it out. Okay.
So I want to mention another one, and this is, maybe it's a good segue into the 2-player versions.
Mm-hmm.
Seven Wonders Duel. It's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a little cliche. It's still on everybody's top 2-player game. It seems to be. It is definitely better than its larger multiplayer counterpart, Seven
I
Wonders.
enjoy it more. Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And we find that's true of a lot of 2-player games. Seven Wonders Duel, we have talked about on this show a lot. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but it's a classic and we want to mention it. But recently, Lord of the Rings Duel,
Yep.
which uses the Seven Wonders engine. We played it at Geekway Mini just about a month ago, and it was fine. It was similar enough. Neither one of us, Katie and I, are not big Lord of the Rings fans, so
Okay.
the theme did not grab me. And because we already own Seven Wonders Duel with all the expansions, we were like, well, okay, but to not reskin, but use the Seven Wonders Duel machine or engine or module and do a Lord of the Rings version. It's different enough. Lord of the Rings Duel is just different enough, but Seven Wonders Duel is definitely, we will play on Valentine's Day for sure.
Yeah.
We'll
Awesome.
definitely do that. So should we talk about the 2-player versions from it? Do you think we should talk about that for a few minutes?
Sure. Yeah.
So,
you mean just all of the announcements and things that have come out recently?
yeah. So there's one that just came out, and there's 2 that were recently announced, right?
Okay.
So I figured we'd start with Everdell Duo, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Duo, right?
The
2-player
Duo.
version. Yeah, 2-player version of its big sister, Everdell. But just this week? I think it was this week. Well, today, even one of them, right? I think it was today.
Oh.
So I think, or maybe last week, White Castle Duel.
Oh, I did see that one. Yeah.
By Devere Games. I think that was released last week. But then today, I don't know if it was today, but I saw it today for the first. That's Flamecraft Duel.
I saw that one too.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there another one? I feel like there's one I'm missing that just was announced.
Zool was announced, but that one I think is actually almost out.
Right.
Maybe
It's
it is
coming.
out. And then there was a King of Tokyo Duel.
King of Tokyo just came out as well. Yeah.
And Everdell and King of Tokyo. I remember seeing that one, but I think that Splendor Duel was kind of one of the first ones that I remember seeing them make an actual, and I'm sure there have been others before that, but that's the first one that I remember as like, oh, interesting. And they're taking a full 2 to 4 player game,
right,
paring it down, changing it, whatever, to make it a better 2-player experience. And I see a lot of people actually prefer Splendor Duel to the big game. I
am not one of them.
Are you not? I haven't played it, so I don't know. But I like Splendor well enough. But I would be interested to see how they changed.
But you are absolutely right. Everyone seems to prefer the Splendor Duel over Splendor. I agree that is correct. For Katie and I, we sold Splendor Duel.
Okay.
To keep Splendor, it's the one-off. So Seven Wonders Duel is better than its big sister, Seven Wonders. Imatep Duel is so much better than its counterpart, Imatep. And if people feel that way about Splendor, of course, we'll see. Everdell Duo looks like it's better. King of Tokyo, I've heard mixed reviews.
I'm interested to see how that one changed too. I haven't really read anything about it, but
our friends across the pond, Craig and Becky from Get Into Games, they said that King of Tokyo is great and that the dual version is not it doesn't do anything new.
Okay.
And if you like King of Tokyo, then just keep your King of Tokyo. If you like King of Tokyo, but you don't own King of Tokyo, get the 2-player version. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Just recently, Isle of Cats Duel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which it's better than big.
Really? You have to teach me all of these games, PJ, all of these 2-player games, because
I will do that. I will happily do that.
I just haven't.
Isle of Cats Duel blew us away. We played it. We were like, okay, no, Isle of Cats is a solid game. Plays well at 2, all the way to at 5, right? I mean, it's amazing. But the dual version is so tight. The action economy, everything is just perfect. Tokaido Duo is better than the big version. We sold Tokaido and kept the Duo. And I don't know anyone who disagrees with that. Maybe they don't want me to. They don't want to sell.
Maybe they won't tell you that they disagree with you.
Yeah. Well, no, tell me. But yeah, dude, that's another one. So these 2-player games just keep coming out.
Yeah.
And seem to be better. White Castle Duel, I'm going to tell you right now, surprised me. That's a solid game. It's a solid title that just came out by DeVere Games just, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it hasn't been out long.
We have a Kallax Cube completely devoted to DeVere Games because we have so many of them, right? And they fit well in the cube. And we're like, do they need a 2-player version? I'm gonna buy it.
Okay.
So yeah, Flamecraft is a huge. My wife loves Flamecraft. We recently picked up the upgraded wooden bits for all the food and resources. Now there's a dual version.
You gotta try that one too.
We're gonna get that one too.
We will probably end up with the Azul 2-player because we love all of the Azul games.
Sure.
And that was actually on my list of games to talk about that play well at 2 players. Like it goes up to 4, but it plays perfect at 2.
What do you think? What do you think for you and your husband? What's the appeal of Azul, right?
We will play them sporadically, and we always choose a different one. We have all 4 of them, and we choose a different one because they all are unique in their own way, and they feel unique, but they also feel familiar in the way that you're drafting and the way that you're placing, even though there's so many different ways that you're paying for the tiles or you're not paying for the tiles and the way that they're going into your board. But there's sort of this universal appeal to us that it's different every time. It's a great puzzle. They play in 30 minutes for the most part.
They do.
And, we can play it with his parents. We can play them, especially the original. We can play with just about anybody, but it's still a great puzzle for us too, every time.
So what's your take on all the different versions, right? You said you have them all.
I do.
Are they necessary?
Probably not, but to me, they are different enough that I like to analyze them, especially as a game designer, and I like to just see how different things are working in different versions of the game. Like the original game, you are paying to put your tiles there, but it's different than the way that you're paying for your tiles with Queen's Garden, which is my favorite. I love that one.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's just that puzzle that I love because it's different for every version, but feels the same. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's what appeals to me.
Right. And I think you said this, it plays really well at 2 players.
Yeah, so, it scales very well.
Do you think it needs a dual?
Do I think it needs it?
Yeah.
I mean, probably not, but I love Michael Kiesling's games. So I am just, whatever he wants to come up with, I want to play it because I don't know, they feel so mathematically based that I don't know, they blow me away every time I play them. We recently played Paris. I don't know if you've played that one. It's big, huge. It's got the monument in the middle with the keys and
the Arc de Triomphe.
Yeah. And it was awesome. burned a hole in my brain, but it was great. And as I was playing that game, I just kept thinking over and over, like how all of his games feel so based in mathematics. And I know
Mhm.
that's true for every game,
Yeah, but some
for the
more
most
than
part.
others, I think.
But it just, everything feels so tight, and it's just, I don't
Yeah.
know. It,
Okay.
it
Yeah.
kind of blows my mind when I play some of his games. So I'm interested. I say all that to say I'm interested to see what he would do with
Sure.
a 2-player only game.
What about the Azul Mini? Do you have that?
Oh,
It's
like a
like,
travel version?
yeah, it's a travel version. And it's
No.
so it's unique in that you've got a plastic grid is your
Mm,
player mat. So the
yeah.
tiles fit neatly. So if you knock them around, they don't. We
Yeah.
really like that too. And we're like, do we need a dual version? But
But does that one does
we're
it
probably
plays
going to get
exactly the same,
it.
right?
Does it?
Okay.
Yeah, it's 2 to 4 players, and we're probably going to get the dual version as well. So.
Good for
Take
you.
my
Yeah.
money. Take my money. So I know that you've got a fairly long list. What else did you want to talk about that are great
So
games for couples to play on Valentine's?
okay, so Wingspan was also on my list.
Okay.
So that one, we play that one a lot too, and I think it plays great at 2 players.
Mm-hmm.
But we also own Wingspan Asia, which is the 2-player only
Right.
standalone game, and we've only played that a handful of times. And it adds this really interesting. Have you played it?
Mm-hmm.
Where you
Yes.
are putting your black and white tokens onto the board based on what you've just played.
Right.
Um, and I don't know that it was needed, but it's kind of a cool variation
Yeah.
on Wingspan. But we generally will just play the original base game rather than getting out the standalone, the Asia
Right.
version. But I don't
Thank
know. I like
God
it that it
for
exists.
yeah. Thank God for the nesting box that we could
Oh,
do that.
yeah.
Because if we wanted to play like before the nesting box, we were just like, here are the cards. We're going to play Wingspan. Like, so now if you want to play just the base, it's
Hmm.
all sorted out and we can get the necessary cards. I think my one criticism of Wingspan is just the sheer volume of cards.
Of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of birds.
Hmm.
So have you upgraded your cubes to wooden birds?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
But I don't do that for very many games, but games that we play over
Yeah,
and over, I
yeah,
have. Yeah.
yeah. We so I got the pelican because that's the state bird of Louisiana,
Mm,
and then we got the cardinal, obviously, because in the Midwest it's common. We've got a
it's
friend who loves purple, so we found a purple bird because I think the thing is if you're going to upgrade it for everyone because it's really terrible if you have friends over, you bring out Wingspan, you're going to teach it to them. Here, you get the little wooden cubes. I get the
yeah.
big fancy bird. Yeah, you
You
don't
have
want
to
to
have
do
enough
that.
for everybody.
You
Yeah.
really do. You really do. But Wingspan, see, I would not have thought about that. Wow, it plays well at 2.
Hmm.
That's not one I would have thought about. But then of course I got big Isofarian Guard for Valentine's.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Right.
have put that
So
on my
come
list.
on. Exactly. What else do you have on your list?
So one that we also enjoy at 2 players is Mistwind, actually. So that's a new one that just came out, I think this year. And it's a big pick up and deliver game with the whales that are,
Okay.
floating in the islands and they're delivering different things. It's great. And so one thing that I don't like in bigger games when it requires an AI player that you have
Hmm.
to deal with
Yep.
at 2 players. I do not like that. There's a couple games we've played. The Fox Experiment was one. I really liked that game a lot, but it was so much upkeep with the third AI
Yep.
player that we only played it once because we don't have 3 players to play with very often, so we just
Yeah.
haven't gotten it back out. Anyway, so Mistwind, you do have to do that, but it's so easy to operate. You're
Good.
just flipping over tokens, and we can play, the whole board. It's just us, but then you're flipping over these tokens for
Yeah.
the AI players. But it's so easy. All they're doing is blocking different spaces. But it's great. It's a big
Good.
pick up and deliver game.
Good.
So yeah, that would be
Yeah, that third
also on our list.
player third ghost player really kind of ruins an experience for Katie and I.
Yeah, it can't. If I know ahead of time that it has that,
mhm.
I generally won't buy a game. But I didn't read about it with the Fox experiment, especially until I got it out to play, and I was like,
Yep.
oh no,
Yeah.
we have so much to keep up with.
Yeah, because that's a problem. I notice a lot of publishers, they will print on their box 2 to 4, 2 to 5, 2 to 6, but it's really
Hmm.
not 2. It's 2 plus a ghost third,
Yeah,
and that's not the same as a
it's
two-player.
not.
You know.
I don't want to spend my turn, like I don't want to spend my brain power
Yep.
keeping up with something else
Yes.
that.
Yep.
But I also understand as a designer why sometimes those
Yep.
things have to be in there. So it's not anybody's fault, I guess.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
that's how it is, but it
It's
can
very
be a
true.
deterrent.
It is
Yeah.
very true. We played Arc Nova the other day.
Mm,
That plays
mhm.
really well at 2 players.
It does, yeah.
I would not be surprised if there were not a duo version of that to come out, right? I
May
could
not be necessary, but I wouldn't
yeah,
be surprised if it came out.
right, but I think you could streamline it. I think you could
Yeah.
tighten it for 2 players. I don't know what that would look like. That's why I'm not a game designer.
Yeah. I
I'm just
mean,
a podcaster who talks about all the games y'all make. That's what I do.
well, you're very good at what you do,
Well,
PJ.
thank you. Thank you so much. You
Yes.
know what? You're not so bad yourself. Some of
Oh, thank you.
your games are pretty fun. You know what? Speaking of your games, I'm going to tell you
Uh-oh.
one that plays at 2 players really well and hits our table all the time is Dinosaur Exhibit.
Really? You guys still play
Yeah.
that?
Oh my
Oh.
gosh. Yes. Guys, if y'all have not, y'all need to find a copy of Dinosaur Exhibit. It is an amazing roll and write that is just, I don't know what to say. It's just really good and plays well at 2.
Thank you.
We kind of fudge it and play it at a higher player count than you intended it to be. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because everyone loves that game. And our friends who have kids love that
Mhm.
game. So, yeah, so there we go. We're going to plug Kristen's game a little bit there
That's right.
at the end.
Well, yeah. Well, we originally bonded over that game. Like, that's how I met you for the first time in person
It's
was
true.
that
It
game.
is, it is
So,
very true. I think at one point, like I had 5 copies in my possession. Right?
what?
Right? I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So we bought a copy. I think when it came out, we bought 2 copies because we knew we wanted to give it away as a gift. And then we gave another copy to another friend. And then when we met you, you gave us a copy to
Yeah,
give to like our boss who's got 6 kids,
that's right.
and
Yeah.
they loved it, right? Oh yeah, because they took pictures and
Yeah,
sent
I
you
found
a
that the other day. I was going
did
through some of
you?
my files and I found that picture of them and the thank you note, and it was
Yep.
so sweet.
And while it's multiplayer, that is a great 2-player game and
Yeah.
quick. So
It's very fast. Yeah.
scales really well. Yeah, so Kristen, thank you so much for joining me for episode
Sure.
110 and celebrating Valentine's Day. I hope that you and Phil have an amazing day together and that
Oh, thank you.
the kids are quiet so you can play games.
We'll see.
And I know that's a time constraint,
Yeah.
but thanks you once again. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Please leave comments. I'd love to hear them. We're going to keep going. This is the plan. While Gareth's out right now, I'm just going to have people filling in, and we're going to continue to unite players around the world. Thanks again, guys.